And the third talk is another very important talk, and this talk is about creativity. And I like to challenge each one of you with this talk. Can I become more creative in life? Commonly, we believe that creativity is, we are born with creativity. There are some people who are creative and there are some people who are not. And that is a very common belief. But creativity, let us first define what is creativity. Creativity is the use of imagination or original ideas to create something. And this is also called inventiveness. But this is not the end of creativity. Creativity is actually the act of turning new and imaginative ideas into a reality. Because unless you turn these ideas into reality, it is not creativity. Creativity is characterized by ability to perceive the world in new ways, to find some hidden patterns which are not hitherto identified, to make connections between these unrelated phenomena, and to generate solutions. So essentially, there must be some need and there must be some solution which has already been generated. Creativity involves two processes, thinking and then producing. Just to have ideas, and if you don't act on these ideas, then you can at best be called imaginative, but not creative. So creativity is essentially a process of bringing something new into being. Creativity requires passion and commitment. It brings to our awareness what was previously hidden and points to new life. And the experience that people describe creativity is ecstatic. So it gives rise to some inner joy which you cannot describe. So innovation is something as a different word. Innovation is the implementation of a new or significantly improved product or a service or process that creates value for the business, government, or society. So innovation is essentially, it could be a product innovation, it could be a process innovation, right? And it creates a value. So creativity is a crucial part of innovation because you're creating a new product or you're creating a new process and there is no innovation without creativity, essentially. But the key metric in both creativity and innovation is the value creation. So that's very important. There must be some value which is added to the actual process or the product which you're already using. So this becomes innovation. Creativity, humans are bestowed with the creative imagination. There is no other animal in the planet which is bestowed with the creative imagination as much as humans are bestowed. And this is as important as education. The problems of the modern world need creative thinking and original insights. And fortunately, creativity is a skill that we can develop. Like any other skill, it can be learned and it can be improved by constant practice. Essentially, we have to let go of a lot of inhibitions that we have in our mind to become creative, and we can use creative ideas into practice, not just in some major newer or major product innovation, but something that we can use in our daily life. So for example, there is a birthday for the children or a spouse. You could be a creative and try to greet them in a very different way, give them creative presents or things like that. So one can use creativity in day-to-day life to enhance or to improve the practice of creativity. And I would like to take you through this George Land's creativity test. It's a beautiful experiment which was done in the early 1960s. George Land was an educationist and a psychologist in the US. He was approached by NASA and he was asked to develop a creativity test because NASA, there were a lot of recruits. They used to get a lot of engineers and technocrats for their jobs, but they wanted to recruit creative people. They wanted to test their creativity. So NASA asked George Land to develop a creativity test, which he did, which was quite good. And then George Land thought that let me use this test on children. So in 1968, George Land conducted a research study to test the creativity of 1,600 children in the age group of 3 to 5 years. Then what he thought was that let me retest after he got the results, because he got astounding results. And so he thought of retesting the same children at 10 years of age and again at 15 years of age. And you'd be surprised at the results. When he tested at 5 years, 98% of children passed the test. At the 10 years, the same children, only 30% could pass the test. And at 15 years, when he did the same cohort, when he did the same test, only 12% could pass. And then he wanted to apply this test to the adults, and he took this test on about 280,000 adults in the US, and only 2% could pass this test. What does it mean? It means, he concluded, wrote Land, that creativity is something that we are born with, and non-creative behavior is something that we learn over the years. So in our education system and later on in our professional system, when we keep learning, we actually become non-creative. As children, we are most creative, and this is something that we see in our daily life. Children can have very creative solutions to problems. They think, they talk very differently. They are very innocent, very creative. Whereas adults, when you give the same set of problems, they cannot think so much because they've developed so many fixed ideas. They cannot think as much. So this was an astounding test, and this tells us how our education system is working. It makes us more non-creative, behavior is learned. So that it essentially means that now George Land, he has a TED talk on the YouTube also. You could go to his TED talk. It's a beautiful talk. And he says that there are two types of thinking. The first thinking is what is called as a divergent thinking, when you think of a lot of possibilities. And next is what is called as a convergent thinking, that you come to decisions out of these possibilities. You know, these are the one or two which are appropriate in this situation or this circumstances. And then he advises us to become someone like a 5-year-old when we want to find out creative problems to our creative solutions to our problems. And with these possibilities, he challenges us that we can actually change the world. So creativity can be learned, but first we have to unlearn a lot of things that we have learned over the years. And creativity is still a skill, can be learned and developed, and it can be managed. How the brain functions about creativity. You know, there are some functions of 5 key behaviors of the brain. One is what is called as associating behavior. We draw connections between different questions or problems or ideas from seemingly unrelated fields, and then apply these to our own field, and we try to find out creative solutions. So this associating function of the brain works maximum in people who are creative. You know, they keep questioning, they pose queries, they keep challenging to people. They also pose questions to their own self. And this is from this that the creativity, the sparks of creativity are born. And then these people are very observant. They keep observing as if they've never seen it. They're seeing it for the first time. They scrutinize the behavior of customers, suppliers, competitors, and identify new ways of doing things. So keen observation is also a very important part of creativity. Networking, meeting people from different ideas and different perspectives is a great thing, because this is how we can actually develop, and you know, the ideas can, from the idea you can take it to the reality. Because unless you can get cross-sectional people from experts from different areas, you cannot make a innovative product or an innovative process. And then these people keep experimenting. They construct interactive, very creative kind of experiences or experiments, and they provoke unorthodox responses to what seemingly looks uninsightful, but they would see something which is insightful in these, and they would keep constructing different experiments. So essentially, we need to connect the dots. Creative thinking is what connects the dots between the disconnected pieces. You know, something, you have seen a problem somewhere, and then you can find a solution somewhere. You can pick up an idea from here, and you can put it there. So a lot of ideas can be generated by brainstorming sessions from people coming from different fields. Logical and rational thinking, what is also called as a right brain, is much more linear. Whereas for solutions to creative problems, it is said that, you know, we have to use our left brains, and we can leave it sometimes to our subconscious minds in our sleep, and in the morning you get a creative idea. But it requires sometimes lots of hard work, but sometimes you have to get away from the hard work also. So sparks of creativity happen when different disciplines get together. Starts with curiosity, as observation carefully, sometimes asking 5 whys to a particular question. We can reach to the root cause or the root cause analysis. But sometimes you have to ask unorthodox questions like, you know, why not? Why cannot this be done? So we have to swim against the tide and reframe a challenge from a new perspective. See, if you are seeing See as if you are seeing for the first time. Be a very keen observer and surround yourself with people who can challenge and motivate you to be creative. To enhance your creativity, you must work from a state of relaxed engagement. You don't keep continuously engaged, but you have to get away from the task, defocus, and just go away and let the brain rest for some time, and somehow some new creative idea would emerge. So you have to take a break. You can take nature walks. You can, complete attention is essentially not the state for creative ideas. So, you keep thinking about that problem, you don't get a creative idea. Sometimes serendipity is how major innovations or discoveries have happened. Serendipity is that you stumble upon it. You were not looking for it, but you actually stumble upon it, and this was not what you had planned, but you actually land up discovering something different. And there are several examples in our own profession. The accidental discovery of penicillin uh, was also a serendipity. Discovery or the invention of liver transplantation. If you read the Thomas Tausel's autobiography, that also was a serendipity. He was working on something else, and how he stumbled upon a liver transplant and how he tried to experiment. So these are some of the wonderful things how people who have been very, very innovative have tried to think. One has to, of course, get out of comfort zones, because creativity requires a large amount of effort. It needs continuous perseverance. You have to wander into unknown territories. And there are people who actually get a lot of energies from different fields. Like Starzl used to do painting while sitting in the theaters. Einstein used to, play piano and learn music to get becoming more creative. And some people do writing to become more creative. Just talking about sharing with you my own innovation journey started with a talk that I attended by Dr. Abdul Kalam in 1992 while I was in the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. The talk was called, "Why Are We So Utterly Cubical?" And this was written on the blackboard that this is the talk by Dr. Abdul Kalam. At that time, he was a scientific advisor to the Prime Minister. And in this talk, he mentioned what are the spin-offs of the development of the missile technology, how it has helped the medical profession, how they've developed or stumbled upon different carbons and different metals, which has helped to create some heart valves and joints. So these are the things that he actually, the idea of his talk was, why is it that scientists are working in their own cubicles, and why are doctors in their own cubicles? Why are they not getting together? So this was the idea. And then subsequently in 1998, I developed a self-retaining retractor system. In 2004, we also developed a scarless retractor for left lobe liver surgery, which is called the Hammock retractor, which is even today used in laparoscopic SILS upper GI surgery. We created the first edition of the book, the DVD Atlas, the HD teaching videos. We created a GI specialty center by a group of doctors, and then developed in 2017, I developed some SILS and WARD ports. We developed a notes platform for doing transoral, transanal surgery. And these are all by questions which we pose, simple questions. Why not? Why transanal surgery could not be developed when we are doing transanal surgery? So we developed transoral ports for doing upper GI surgeries like cardiomyotomy, fundoplication. And then currently we are doing innovations to develop an endoscopic suturing device. And we have recently written some books also. So a lot of, things we can do from something that we are routinely doing from our own profession. We can just get out from a different mindset, because all these activities, we learn a lot of things. Ultimately, learning and creativity goes hand in hand. So if you really want to learn, you have to be creative. Creativity is not just for your personal accomplishment, but organizations, it has been found that it's very important. And organizations can become successful only when they are creative. And if you see the last 20 or 25 years of the history of organizations, the most successful organizations have been the most creative organizations. Say, for example, in the field of design and engineering, the top organizations are Apple and Tesla, which have combined the best of design and engineering together. So they have become the most successful in their field. And these organizations create a culture of openness. Like Google, if you see the organization has a culture of openness and creativity. They harbor or they harness and they try to initiate creativity. And these are some famous words of Dr. Kalam. Creativity is the key to success in the future. And it is not the future, but it's the present. And even in the terms of primary education, where teachers can bring creativity in children. So there are several organizations like HP is one, GE is one, who have been very creative. They have created their own rules of creativity. And HP is the one which was started from the garage. They created their rules, which are also called the rules of the garage. They are simple rules for their employees, which can help them to be creative, sharing, working together, trusting, keeping the politics away, let the customer define the job, and think radically, invent different ways of working, make a contribution every day, and believe that you can do something different and try to keep inventing. So managing failures is also very important. You have to accept and even reward failures. Then there is something called a fail fast approach. In today's world, this is very important. In a product innovation life journey, if you have to fail, you have to fail early. Because if you fail later on, then there's a lot of cost already involved in the process. And that's why this process is called fail fast approach. And research what has been done as a starting point. You can do a lot of research online and see what people have done so far in that field where you want to do something, and then you can use it as a starting point, a reference point. You don't want to reinvent the wheel, what has been already done. So in today's world, it is very easy to get online and see what is there on the public domain. You can even get onto the IPR search and see what is there in the patent domain. And then from there, you can do a starting point and make sure that whatever new you do, you don't infringe on any copyrights. You have to do a very good prior art search, what is known as in the terms of patents. Prior art search means where it has already been patented. You should not infringe on those patents while you are doing any innovation. And there is no innovation and creativity without failure. So failures are essentially stepping stones. But let me share with you that creativity also has a other side. It needs a lot of patience, needs a lot of perseverance. It needs internal motivation. There are nobody, other people to guide you or motivate you sometimes. And it can be sometimes be a lonely journey which you have to tread. But with the right attitude and the right mindset, and with a lot of failures, taking them into correct stride, this can lead to success. So creativity is at the heart of success. It is a skill which can be learned and developed, and it can be a key to our inner fulfillment. Even for CEOs, it is very important to lead the organizations in today's world. Creativity is one of the most important leadership quality, which is essential for any leader to develop any disruptive innovations and taking balanced risks and steer their organizations from difficult situations into successful organizations. So with this, I end this presentation, and I thank you very much